Okay, hello everyone. My name is Cindy Good, and I am a research and instruction library at the Neumann Library. And I have been asked to record a brief overview of where and how to find information using Neumann Library resources, library resources, and then also to talk a little bit about how to identify predatory journals. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in and share my screen. If you give me just one moment, please. And I'll share this. Okay. So we're going to start on the main library webpage, which is uhcl.edu/library. That should take you directly to our library webpage. I'm going to scroll down, and most of what you do is going to be centered here around what I call the big gray box. So you can search for information using OneSearch, and let me just give you a brief overview of that. I like just clicking on the advanced search, but you're welcome to type search terms into this box here. But the reason I like using advanced search is because it allows me to immediately sign in to my individual library account. So everyone on this campus, faculty, students, and staff all have a library account at the Neumann Library. So if you click on the sign in button on the top right-hand part of the page, you can sign in using your UHCL student credentials. And in this case, it remembered me. Normally, I would have to type those in. And then while I'm here, I can actually, I see my name up at the top. That reassures me that I am signed into this account. And I can click on the little arrow next to my name. And then I can see, I can view my account. I can see what I have, what loans I have checked out, any requests I have submitted for items, any fines I might have, and then any messages about blocks or anything. But there's some other things that we can do here using, now that we're signed into our personal library accounts. So I can click on New Search up here, and I can search for something. So this is my silly search that I always do for demonstration, is to search for cats. It's just very silly, but let me just show you what you can do whenever you search for anything here in OneSearch. So I can find items here, and notice that on these individual records here, that there is this little thumbtack here in the top corner of the record. So if I wanted to save this video of cats, I wanted to come back and look at this later when I have more time, I can click this little thumbtack and save that video to my personal library account. I can also click here on advanced search, and I can formulate a more complex search query, such as cats, let me see, in the Sahara Desert for some reason. I don't know why I would want to search that, but so in the Sahara Desert. And then I can, if I like the results that I'm finding here, then I can, again, save this search query. There's a button here at the top of the search list that says Save Query, has a thumbtack next to it. I can click that and it will automatically save that search to my account. So this is really good. So because sometimes I don't have time to go through all of the results in this search query, but I find that I'm finding really great results in this search query. So therefore I want to save it, come back later, rerun this search, but without having to try to remember all of the different terms and whatnots that I have submitted for this search query. So I can go here to my account in the top right-hand corner again, and I can click on My Favorites. Again, it has that cute little thumbtack next to it. So I can look in here, and it will show me all of the items, individual items that I have saved that I wanted to come back and look at. So here's that cat's video that I wanted to come back and look at, and I can look at the record and I can decide, you know, whether or not I want to use this or not. Maybe I want to check this video out and watch it for fun. You know, you never know. If I decide I don't want this anymore, I can click on, again, the little thumbtack and says, remove this item. So that removes that from my favorites so that it's no longer taking up space in there. Next to that is the saved searches. So there was that search, here's that search that I created for cats in Sahara Desert. So I can click on that search, and OneSearch will search those exact same parameters that I already set up for me, so I can continue looking at the results. This is incredibly useful if you're doing, particularly if you're doing a long-term search, and you just, you know, you have that, you've developed that one great search query, but again, there's so much information out there that you can't get through it all in one sitting. But let me show you what else you can do with that. So I'm going back to my favorites. And I'm going to look at that saved search again. So again, here's that search for cats in Sahara Desert. Now notice that there is this little bell next to that thumbtack over here. Now whenever I'm done with this search, I can remove it just like I did with that cats video, but no, I don't want to do that. Instead, I want to set an alert for this search. So I can set an alert, I can click on this little bell, and when I do that, the OneSearch system will then send me an email telling me whenever anything new is entered into the OneSearch system that meets the criteria, my search criteria. So again, that's particularly useful if you're doing a long-term research project like a thesis or a dissertation. So, you know, I recommend taking advantage of that if that is what you were doing for this class. So I'm going to remove this search query because I'm not interested in cats in the Sahara Desert anymore. And then let me go show you a couple more things here. So if you're researching environmental science, perhaps you are searching maybe ecoregions. You're doing some sort of research about ecoregions in Texas. And so you type in your search terms, but you specifically want only a certain type of item. So for instance, you only want books, for instance, or chapters in books that meet your criteria. So over here, you have filters on the left side of the page. And so you can limit your search results instead of, because you notice on this, if you look at this, these search results, there's articles and there's books, and you know, there may be other types of items in here that are not particularly interesting to you. So you can go over here and I can say I only want books, for instance, you know, and maybe I only want specifically physical items, or maybe I only want electronic items, whatever. So, and maybe I only want to see, maybe I really want to see what's only in the Neumann Library, or maybe I want to see, oh, let me see what the downtown UH Library has, or MD Anderson on the main campus. I'm curious to see what they have. I can select any of those limiters if I want to. So let's just click on UH Clear Lake Neumann Library to see what specifically we have here. And it looks like we have 2 books that have the terms Texas and ecoregion in them. And so let's just say I can save one or more of these filters if I want to. I can lock those down. So let's just say I want to lock down books. I'm determined all I really want to read right now are books right now about ecoregions in Texas. And so if I change or add to my search terms up here, I can say eco region in Texas, but only maybe around the coastline. So I've changed my search terms. Oops. Okay, so I didn't run that. I want to make sure that I run that search. Okay, good. So now you see that I have 5 results now versus the 2 I had before, but that filter that I had not locked down over here for Clear Lake Neumann Library, that disappeared. So, but the filter that I did lock down, which was books, because all I want to look at right now is books, stayed. It remained active. So if I were to save this search query right now to my favorites, I can go here, look at my favorites again. Under my saved searches, I can rerun that exact same search, and it will remember all of those search terms I typed in, plus any locked filters that I had. So again, these are very useful tools for you. So just, I recommend playing around with these filters and just find what works for you. Sometimes you want to find things under a certain subject. Sometimes you want to filter out items that are maybe published in a different language that you are unable to read. So you want to filter those things out. So just play around with them is what I recommend. So I'm going to leave OneSearch now, and really, most likely, the place you will go to for information are going to be the databases. So I believe this class is environmental science. So you will probably want to click on databases by subject. And notice when you do that, there will be a long list of subject terms here. So what we've done is we've subdivided and organized our many different databases by broad subject area. So there's things like accounting and art and education, environmental science, legal studies, and research. So what I like to tell people here is, yes, your class, the title of your class is environmental science, but that does not mean that you can only search using the environmental science databases. Oftentimes, search projects that you're working on, research projects that you're working on, often overlay many different more than one subject areas. So for instance, you may be researching environmental science that's somehow related to schools, such as building materials that are used when building public schools. And so you may search under environmental science related to that, but you might also dip into the education databases as well to find out, maybe you're researching, illnesses that are caused by poor building materials used in public schools. And so therefore, you may want to research education to find out if anything has been written in the education subject area about illnesses related to school construction. You may also want to research a little bit into the health sciences area to, again, research any sort of health problems that are inherent with poor quality construction. And of course, you will probably want to do some research within the environmental science field as well. So don't automatically limit yourself to just the one subject area, environmental science. You have all of these different databases at your disposal. And if you go into, say, the education subject area to research something about schools and construction of schools and things like that, and you don't find anything, fine, forget about it. You've done your due diligence, you've looked to see if there's any information there. If there's not, then you can forget about it and just move on. But don't automatically limit yourself. So let's go ahead and click on environmental management. And you'll see here, this is just a list of key databases that most likely have the types of information that you're looking for. And it's a large variety. And many of these databases contain, information on a broad range of subject areas. So even if you search in one of the other subject areas, you'll probably see some of these same databases popping up, because they don't contain just one singular subject area. They contain many different subject areas. So, and if you ever need help with any of the databases or navigating one of the databases, feel free to contact one of us. You can contact me directly. We can contact any librarian for help. I say that particularly because I know Nexus Uni is a legal database that can be particularly challenging for most people to navigate. So completely understandable if you need help navigating something like this. I think some of the nursing or health databases also tend to be very uniquely designed for those fields. And so it's okay, we're here to help you. So don't be afraid to ask us. If you get stuck in the research process, don't be afraid to reach out. We're here to help you. That's exactly what we get paid for. So, and we're thrilled to do it. We love the research process. So we love helping. And again, some of these business resources, business databases, they're very uniquely designed. And so again, reach out for help if that's what you need. We'll do what we can to help you succeed. So, but we have many different resources here. So you may be interested, for instance, if you're writing a thesis as your final product for your degree. So you may be interested in seeing some of the theses and dissertations that have been published here at the University of Clear Lake, and to see what's past muster in years past. So, and we also have access to theses and dissertations from around the world. So you have access to these, and those are good sources of information. Don't think that they aren't, because they are. There's also all these other wonderful databases. Let me just go ahead and click on this one. This is Academic Search Complete. And so I'm just going to use this one as an example. Each database tends to have its own very unique interface. So Academic Search Complete, this is an EBSCO host this particular database. And you can start filtering here on the main page if you like. So, but let's just say I'm going to do construction, school construction. So, okay, and notice here that as I'm typing these words, the database itself is giving me suggestions. It's trying to help me out. So, I always say, take note of these suggestions. I always recommend keeping a list of search terms. Keep a notebook someplace with a list of search terms, or keep a digital document someplace with a list of search terms that you come up. You will find as you read more about your chosen topic, you'll see certain terms pop up continuously, or maybe variations on those terms. And so you want to take note of those and use those as search terms whenever you look for information. And I don't know about you, but my memory is not 100% all of the time. So I have to write things down and keep lists. And, and I can string these different search terms together in different ways to find different results. So in this case, I'm going to look for school construction, which is actually one of the suggestions that Academic Search Complete is providing for me. And I also want to look for illnesses. So it says illness, here's a suggestion: illness or disease or sickness or condition. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and I'm going to start searching and see if anything comes up. So we have 111 results here. And so notice that several of these have find it, this little green find it at UHCL little button here. And I'm going to show you here in a second what that does. So first of all, let's click at one of these. I'm going to click this one, number 2. And so here's the record for this particular article. And so I'm going to do different things here. The very first thing I want to do, if that title of this article is interesting to me, I've clicked on it. And now the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read the abstract, which hopefully we all know what an abstract is. It's just a very brief introduction, very brief overview of what this article is about. And you know, I highly recommend reading this before you dip into the actual article, because this will tell you about what the research is about, usually what methods were used for the research, and then it will also give you a brief overview of what the results were. So this will give you a very good sense about whether or not this article is actually may actually be useful for you, or whether or not you need to just ignore it, go back, find a different article, and forget about it. So just remember that. Always read the abstract. It's designed to be a time saver for you. So some of the other things I'm going to do, I'm going to make note here. You know, I'm going to look at the list of authors. That's a lot of authors in there, but especially if you're doing a long-term research project, you know, I like to take note of the authors because, generally speaking, the same authors will publish continuously around the same subject areas. So I may notice that I might notice the same author continuously popping up in different articles that I'm finding using my chosen search terms. And so maybe at some point I will say, oh, this person here, I keep seeing them, so therefore I'm going to click on their name and see and let the database find every single article that this person has published. And then I can see if they have other things that are of use to me. So I'm going to go back to that record. And I'm also going to start noticing the journals that continuously pop up. Again, patterns tend to pop up when you're doing long-term research. And so you may notice a particular journal or 2 or 3 or 5 that continuously pop up in your search results. And so, yeah, I'm going to start taking note of that. And so I might even decide to search. I can click on that hyperlink there and I can search and see what other articles may pop up within that journal. So I may just want to go find all the copies of that journal and just see, you know, what other types of things that they're publishing. So I clicked on that journal title. It took me to the journal's record within this database. And you can see we can access records for articles in this journal from 2002 to 2022. So, you know, I may decide to go, you know, look through those at some point when I have time, just for fun. I'm also going to take note of the subject terms. This goes back to what I was saying before about taking note of subject terms that pop up when you're searching. Again, these subject terms can be useful to you. You can find alternative terms to ones that maybe you're searching for. Terms that may mean the same or the similar thing to what you're already searching, but maybe they're more industry specific. And so, you know, you're learning some of the industry language as you read these articles. And so I would take note of those recurring search terms or interesting search terms. And again, you can see in this database that they're hyperlinked. So I can click on any one of these and let the database run a search for those terms and find however many articles are in this database that include those terms. So, and then you notice here that the authors, a list of author supplied keywords. These are the terms that the authors felt most appropriately describe their research. So again, you can take note of those. And there's different things you can do in here. There's a citation tool here that I can click on. So depending on what your chosen style guide is, so for instance, APA 7, there's a handy dandy already formatted reference there for you if you can choose to save that, to copy and paste that if you want to. However, I will say, always, 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 always double check your references against your style guide before turning any papers in, because even though these are really wonderful shortcuts, I highly recommend using them. They're not always perfect. They do mess up some of the style. Sometimes things will be italicized that shouldn't be, and vice versa. Sometimes things will be in all caps that shouldn't be, etc. So just be aware of that and double check before you turn in your papers. So, and then, if you use any sort of style citation management software, there's also an export feature here that you can export a citation and save it to your citation management system. I would talk more about citation management systems today, but that's really an entire lesson to itself. So, and you can also save a permanent link back to this particular record if you want to. You can copy and paste that in a document if you want to, and come back later and look at this, should you choose to do that, and it will bring you directly back to this record. And of course, you can also print, save to Google Drive, etc. So, but let me show you now what this find it at UHCL means. First of all, it means in this case that this database does not actually contain a full copy of this article. So what I can do is click on Find It at UHCL, and the database will connect with our OneSearch system and try to find us a full copy of this particular article. So in this case, it looks like MD Anderson Library on the main UH campus, you see that right here under location items, has physical copies of this journal. So in this case, this leads me to something I was going to show you a little bit later, but we'll go ahead and jump ahead a little bit. You can submit a request for items. So right now we're in our OneSearch database. Notice here that there's the sign in menu, that there's the sign in button. It does not recognize that I'm signed in. There's also this yellow bar right here that also says sign in on the record. I can click that. I can sign in using my UH Clear credentials. You will give it a second to load. Okay, so now notice that under Get It right here, it says UHCL Interlibrary Loan Request. So I'm going to click on that link, and it's going to take me to this page. And in a little bit, after a while, I'm going to show you a different way to get to this page. But for now, we're just going to follow this lead right now. So I'm going to log in using my student credentials, or my UH Clear Lake credentials. Okay, so, and what's wonderful about using this feature, just as I've shown you, is that the system automatically fills in the blanks for you. So that's really, really helpful for us. Saves us some time and effort. And so, just double check to make sure that all the necessary information is filled out, and then scroll down and then submit request down at the bottom. And what will most likely happen is that our interlibrary loan department in the library, our people will contact the UH main campus and say, hey, can you please provide us with a copy of this article here's the information about the article. Most likely what will happen at UHCL, at UH main campus, is that somebody from their ILL department will go grab the copy, the relevant copy of the journal off the shelf and go scan the article that you need, and then in turn email that to our department, and then we will then provide you with a downloadable copy of it. Alternatively, our people might even choose to go online and purchase a copy directly from the publishers directly, and then again provide you an electronic copy of that. Whatever the case, you will receive an email saying your article is ready for pickup, and they will provide you a link back to your ILL account, and then you will just simply click on electronically received articles over here under view, and then there will be a list of articles here, anything that you have received electronically, and there will be a little PDF icon there that you can click on and download and save a copy of that article. So to me, ILL is one of the most fantastic resources that the library has to offer amongst all the other resources that we have. So it's very, very handy. But I'm going to come back to ILL in a little while. But just know that you can request articles, you can request books, you can request conference papers, all types of items, whatever you need for your research, you can usually put a request through ILL. So I'm going to close this out, and then I'm going to close this out as well. And now here we are back to this record. Okay, so I'm going to step back here, back to our original results list. And then I'm going to start using these filters on the left-hand side of the page. So again, we have filters, just like we had filters in OneSearch, we have filters here. And again, these are to help make your research process easier, faster, more relevant. So for instance, what if I didn't want to take the time? What if I was in a hurry to find an article for whatever reason? I have a class that I'm taking and I need access to an article right now because I forgot to do my homework assignment and I just need something fast. I don't have time to deal with Interlibrary Loan. I can click on under Limit to Full Text. That will show me only those items in this database that I have immediate access to the full copy of the articles. So notice here that all of my search results say either PDF full text, or in the case of article number 3, it says PDF full text and HTML full text. So we'll click on this particular article number 3. Let's just go see the difference. So notice that I scroll down on the record and here's the abstract, but if I keep scrolling, here's a copy of the full copy of the article. So this is what it means by HTML full text. It just immediately lets you start looking at reading the article right there on the page. Alternatively, I can click over here on PDF full text. It will open up another page that will actually show me a PDF copy of the originally published article. So here it is. This is what it would have looked like. This is what it looks like in the actual journal that it was published in. So if I want to, I can, there's a download button here. There's a print feature here. So if I decide I can read through this article really fast and say, oh, do I want this? Do I not want this? And if I want to, I can download or print a copy of it, save it for later. So that's what you can do with the PDF full text. So I'm going to step back again. And let's just continue looking at these filters on the side. So one of the things that will be of interest to you is you're probably going to be looking for peer-reviewed articles. Peer-reviewed means that an article has been thoroughly vetted by experts in that subject field. So if we're talking about environmental science, then, most likely, there may be professors or professionals in the field of environmental science, scientists, researchers who have years of experience researching, writing about the subject area, and they will read articles that are submitted for the various journals and give their opinions as to the quality of those articles. And so they will provide feedback to the journal saying, yes, this is quality material, looks good. Or maybe they will provide comments saying, maybe the writing isn't very clear. Maybe the research, how the research is described isn't very clear. And they will recommend edits to be made for the article. And so the journal itself will contact the authors in question and say, oh, hey, this is the feedback we received. We will not be publishing your article until these criteria are met. So that's basically what peer-reviewed means. It means experts in the field are reading and vetting, thoroughly vetting these articles, sometimes multiple times before they are published in these journals. And if an article does not meet criteria, eventually it will be rejected. So the idea is that through peer review, we have a vast quantity of reliable research and information that we can rely on for our own research purposes. So I can click on peer reviewed, and again, that may narrow my results down a bit. So, and I can also narrow my results down by publication date. So right now, this is telling me that I have results ranging from the year 1993 to 2021. Well, perhaps for whatever reason, I only want to know what the most recent, maybe 20 to 21 years worth of data or information is, or research is about this topic. So I can narrow this down to just 2000. And so again, that's going to narrow my results down a bit. On the flip side, I may be doing research where I may be writing a thesis or an article or an assignment. Well, maybe I want to know some historical information about a topic. And so on the flip side, I may decide to change that and maybe look at only things that were published maybe 50 years ago, for instance, if those things are available. So I can narrow down by source type, which in this case, the only source type currently available within these results is journal articles. But sometimes magazine articles or things like that will pop up. Magazine articles are not, quality research materials. They may be interesting, they're fun to read, but they're not designed for heavy-duty research. They're not peer-reviewed or vetted in any way. Magazine articles are generally written for general audience that does not have a heavy science background. I also like to look again at the subject terms. Sometimes I use these to help me narrow down my search results. So again, my search, if you remember, is about school construction and illnesses or diseases or sicknesses that may be related to poor construction materials. And so I may look through these subject terms and say, oh, concrete. Okay, that's a material that is used in construction. So maybe I want to just look at things related to building materials. And so I can look through these, epoxy resins, for instance. I can narrow my results down I can limit very fine-tune very closely what I want. Mortar, I know that that's a construction material. Oxygen and water, I don't know. Maybe that's something that keeps popping up. So I can do that, and then I can update my results once again. And again, I've narrowed down my results to just include items that specifically maybe discuss construction materials. And then if I want to, I can remove those. I can X those out over here. Pardon me, my throat is starting to get a bit itchy. I can remove those filters by just Xing them out on the left-hand side of the page. And then if I want to, I can go look at those subject terms and I can change, you know, my subject terms. Like I say, I only want to look at things related to illnesses such as cancer treatment. See if they have anything, medical research. Things of that sort. So I can see if those things post tumor suppressor genes. So again, I can update my results, and now I can find just those articles that have those particular subject terms in them. So those are just some different ways that you can use filters to your advantage. Like I said, every database is a little bit different. So you just have to play around with their particular set of filters to see what works for you. Let me show you one other thing about EBSCOhost. EBSCOhost is a very large database, and it actually contains many, many, many different smaller databases, such as Academic Search Complete. Now here I can click on Choose Databases right up here above the search boxes, next to where it says Academic Search Complete. And I can actually search more than one database if I want to, or I can change databases. So these are all databases that are hosted by EBSCOhost. So for instance, right now I'm looking at Academic Search Complete. You know, I might want to look at some of these health related databases, for instance. I think there are some education databases in here. So I can search one or more of those if I want to, and then click OK. And then I can run my search again, and then this will probably give me maybe a few more results. So now I have 277 results altogether out of these several different databases that I searched. So again, I can limit my filters, etc., as I like to narrow down my results. But that's one way to expand your search result, is you can search, in some cases, you can search multiple databases at the same time. So that, I think, is enough about that. And then let me step back again. And let me show you one thing that I did forget to show you in OneSearch. So I'm just going to search cats again. Speaking of peer-reviewed journals is one of the limiters available to you here in OneSearch. So that's, again, one way you can look for only those nice peer-reviewed journal articles. You can also choose to look at things that are only available online. We already saw that that one journal was only located in physical form at MD Anderson Library on the main campus. So you may choose, for whatever reason, to say, I only want to see what articles are immediately available online. So, you know, you can do that if you want to. Let me show you. We're going to look at cats again, but this time I want to look at books again. And in this case, I want to narrow down my results to just books that are on another campus, on another UH campus. So let's just look at the downtown library campus. And they have this book here, Cats of Africa, Behavior, Ecology, and Conservation. Let's look at that record. Okay, so notice here on this record that this book exists in physical form. One copy, there's a copy at the MD Anderson campus, and then there's a copy at the downtown Dykes Library. So this tells me, you know, obviously I don't have a copy here at the UHCL Neumann Library, but I can get this copy from one of these other libraries. In this case, again, I'm going to sign in here to my library account using my campus credentials. And now notice that there's this different looking request button. So this is different from the ILL request button that we saw earlier for that article. So I can click on this request button and I can say, I want to pick up this book. I want it delivered to either UHCL Neumann Library, or if I lived in Pearland, it might be more convenient for me to pick up the book on the UH Clear Lake campus Pearland Library. So just know that you have those two options there. So I can say Neumann Library, and then I can submit that request here. And then what will happen is that our staff will contact one of those other libraries and say, hey, can we borrow this book from one of our students? And then they will deliver that book here to us within a few days. And then you will again receive an email when that book is ready for pickup. And then you will go to the circulation desk in our library and say, hey, I have a book ready for pickup, and they will check it out to you. One of our people will check it out to you. So just know that you can do that. But what happens if you come across an article or a book that none of our libraries has? Again, this is where Interlibrary Loan comes into play. So down here below the big gray box is an Interlibrary Loan button, which takes you to the ILL login page, which we looked at earlier. And so I'm going to sign in using my campus credentials. And now I'm going to go over here to new request. So if I found a book that I'm interested in, and it really doesn't matter whether it's a book for research or if it's a book that you want to read just for fun, it really doesn't matter. You can go here. If we do not have a copy of the book at the Neumann Library or at the Pearland Library, or a copy does not exist on any of the other UH campuses, then you can log into your Interlibrary Loan account and fill out a request form for that item. So again, notice that there's just these red asterisks that designate required pieces of information, and just fill out as much information as you can about the item that you want. And just know that the more information you can provide makes the process easier for us to find a copy of that book. And basically what happens is that our ILL staff, has contacts with other libraries and institutions around the nation. And so they will contact one of these other places and say, hey, we see that you have this book. Do you mind loaning that to us so that one of our students, faculty, or staff can check it out? And so there's no guarantee as to how long that can take. It depends on the item, whether or not the other institution is willing to loan it to us, how long it may take them to process that request. But our staff is really good about trying to get things turned around pretty quickly. And regardless of whether or not they are able to acquire the item, they will send you an email saying, I'm sorry, we couldn't get this item, or otherwise they will say, yes, we do have this item ready for you to check out. So if it's a physical item, they will give it to our circulation department, and then you'll be able to pick it up when you walk into the library from the circulation people. So that's how that works. And if it's an article, sometimes our people will go online and purchase a digital copy for you. If they can. And so again, they may even be able to provide you electronic copies of articles that you need for your research. So just please be aware, this is don't ever pay for an article. never, ever, 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 ever pay for an article while you're a student here at UHCL. We have this system in place for you so that you never have to pay for articles that you need for your research projects. So please don't be afraid to submit those requests. Okay, so what happens if you need help? So again, beneath the big gray box is this Ask a Librarian button. And so if you click on that, this will take you to a page where we try to have chat available most days of the week. Usually, I think right now our hours for chat is Monday through Thursday. I think it's 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. or 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then Saturdays and Sundays 10 to 6 are our typical hours. You can email us at library@uhcl.edu. There's our general email address right there. You can call us. You can send us a text message and chat with us. You can even click on schedule an appointment and make a one-on-one appointment with any librarian for consultation, for research consultations. So if you get stuck, maybe you're not finding enough articles for your research project, or maybe you're just kind of confused, you need some help using a particular database or whatever. It doesn't matter, we're here to help you. So you can schedule an hours long appointment with any one of us, and we can Zoom with you if you like. I think right now we're still primarily during our consultations via Zoom. But if you ask nicely, if you want to come up here and speak one-to-one with one of us, you can certainly ask for that. And depending on the librarian, some are more comfortable with that right now, some are not. We should hopefully be opening our main floor doors again. When we do that, then yes, we will absolutely be better able to have those one-on-one meetings with you if that's what you choose. So, but I don't have an exact date on when we're opening our main floor yet. I know at this point it sounds like it may be just a matter of weeks, but I can't promise anything. So you may also be wondering one other thing. Now, I talked briefly about peer review. Let me show you one more thing before I forget. Under databases, there is a database called CABELLS. And I'm not sure if that's exactly how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it. And so CABELLS starts with the letter C. So I can click here under the letter C under research databases, and I can find CABELLS right there, the second database listed here. And I can click on that. Now, CABELLS' whole purpose is to help identify what's called predatory journals. And it also provides statistics about the various journals so that you can understand what their reliability is, what their impact score. So you notice here, right now it's by default clicked on Journalytics. And so you can see it gives you all this information about, say, this particular journal right here. So I can click on that and it will expand that information for me. So I can, go read more about this journal and find out how, what its significance is in the field of 3D printing. Now I can click up here on predatory reports up in the top left-hand corner. And this will give me a list of journals that CABELLS considers predatory. And so that means that they have some violations on their records. They have poor publishing records. Maybe they're out to just make money, but not really provide good research. So I can click on any one of these journals and really to understand what predatory means and what what I recommend is coming here to CABELLS, clicking on any one of these journals. This one says it has 10 violations. And so I can click here. If you see very faintly, it says criteria. I can click on that. We'll open a separate window for this particular, what it means by criteria version 1.1. And it will give you a very detailed list of the criteria that it considers to be predatory or poor practices. So for instance, the journal may say that it's peer reviewed, but it doesn't really demonstrate clearly the peer review process, or maybe it has a large number of people on its board of directors, but they only for whatever reason, the journal only publishes a very limited number of articles per year. So, right, this is the best way to understand what predatory means and what poor publishing practices mean, is by going here to CABELLS, clicking on one of these reports and reading about the criteria that they measure these journals by. So, for instance, here it lists the owner or editor of the journal or publisher falsely claims academic positions or qualifications. So they're lying. So basically that's what it is. They are lying. They give a fake ISSN number. So, I mean, just go read these and you will better understand what makes a bad publication. And there's a search engine up here. So you can click in the search box if you have a particular journal that you're interested in knowing more about, to see if it's on the predatory list or not. Maybe you want to understand its impact factor. Then certainly you can search for that up here. There's also an advanced search, so you can be more specific if you like. So that's what I recommend. And the name of the journal, again, is CABELLS, CABELLS. So that's CABELLS.com. So that's really, I think I should probably wrap this up at this point. But again, let me just, I'm going to end this with a slide. And so if you ever again need help, let me see if I can flip that. Okay. Display. So, there we go. So if you ever need help, if you ever find yourself with a question, you need help navigating databases, maybe you're not finding enough quality information on your topic, you just have questions about what's happening in the library or anything, just feel free to reach out to us. We're here to answer your questions and help you out. We want you to succeed. So you can ask a librarian. There's a direct link back to that page I showed you where our contact information is listed, and where you can schedule an appointment with one of us if you like. There's our email address right there, library@uhcl.edu. And then our phone number where you can text us and chat with us directly is 281-816-4341. And then my name is Cindy Good. I'm a research and instruction librarian at the Neumann Library, and my email address is goode@uhcl.edu. And you're more than welcome to contact me directly if you have questions about this presentation or questions about any services that we offer in the library.